Welcome back to How to Cake It. So this is happening right now. It's the Rubik's Cake episode of How to Cake It. Oh, can we do some weird graphic where it's like... I don't want to be in the frame. I just want this, like... Is it straight, Chet?
It's great.
Yeah, it looks great.
It's perfect.
I think they're lying.
We got it.
To make this Rubik's Cube cake, I dyed my vanilla batter yellow using Wilton lemon yellow icing colors. And then I've baked it in 4 8-inch square pans. Once my cakes are out of their pans and leveled, I take one of those cakes and layer it into 3 equal slices. Because I need my Rubik's Cube cake to be a perfect square, I need each one of my 3 remaining cakes to be a little bit higher. So I'm gonna add one of the layers from my 4th cake to each one of my 3 cakes to make them each higher. I do this using my Italian meringue buttercream. I dye it yellow using the same Wilton lemon yellow. Now all 3 of my cakes are 2 inches high, and I'm gonna cut them into logs that are 2 inches wide. I actually made myself a template. This is 2 inches. In the end, I'll have 9 logs that are 2 by 2 inches. It is a little bit complicated, much like solving a Rubik's Cube. Why are you laughing? Can you two solve a Rubik's Cube?
No, I can't.
No, I cannot.
Okay. The fun with mathematics is not over yet, kids. Because all of my logs are 2 inches wide by 2 inches high, 3 of them add up to being 6 inches wide. That's right? So I need to cut them all 6 inches long, so that when I stack all my logs together, they will end up in a perfect cube. Ding dong ding. Should I come back there?
No.
It's fine. No, it's good.
This is my show. It's How to Cake It with Yolanda Gant and Sci-Fi Rubik's Cube. To assemble this cake, I have pre-made black chocolate ganache. I wanted to mimic the lines you see here in the Rubik's Cube. And I dyed it using Wilton black icing colors and then set it aside to come to room temperature so it's nice and spreadable. You can make it the night before. Time to assemble. Start with 1 cake and sandwich 3 logs together by spreading your black chocolate ganache in between the 3 logs and then sandwiching them together. Now it's time to stack all 3 squares to make a cube. Here's where you can layer your 3 squares of cake just like a layer cake. Spread ganache on the first set, add another layer, spread ganache again, add another layer, and then crumb coat the entire cube with more black chocolate ganache. I need to put my cube cake in the fridge to chill before I give it 1 more icing of black ganache. Icing square cakes, or cube cakes in particular, takes quite a bit of time. You gotta get your sharp edges, you gotta get your corners nice and sharp.
Did you get your edges straight?
Of course I got my edges straight. What kind of question is that? I can't make a rounded Rubik's. It's called a Rubik's Cube. It's not called a Rubik's Ball. It's time to cover this beautiful cube in black fondant. I use 4 pounds of black fondant to cover all 4 sides of the cake and the top. My cake is actually a little bit shorter than it is wide, which does not make it a perfect cube. To make up for this, I'm gonna roll my 5th slab of fondant a little bit thicker than the other 4 were, just to make up for that height so that in the end, I have a perfect cube. You want special effects again?
No. We're good.
I cut a perfect line on one end of it, and then I use a set square to cut a perfect perpendicular line. Oh, I did pay attention a bit in math. Then I line that perfect corner up with one corner of my cake. And then what I do is take a ruler and a very sharp knife to trim the other 2 sides to match the cube. Now I have one gorgeous big black cube. The only problem is it's naked. we've got to Rubik's it up. This must be why I like posting on Instagram so much, because all of the pictures are arranged like a cube. I begin by marking the grid between the colors so that there's 9 sections on every side and the top of the cube. Now it is time to roll out every color of fondant on the Rubik's Cube, which is white, yellow, orange, red, blue, and green. Now I need to cut each color of fondant into 9 squares. I actually don't need 9 because we're not going to see the bottom side, but I'm just going to cut 9. So when I cut my colored fondant, I made sure to cut the squares a little bit smaller than the squares on the grid so that I would have a black border running all the way around. You may be able to use a square cutter if the size works out perfectly, or you might need to make yourself a template. It's really easy to make. Should I do sci-fi with my template?
No.
Imagine I could perfectly like, can I try that?
Yes.
It's not gonna work because I suck at throwing. Ready? Okay, here it comes. To apply my squares of fondant to my Rubik's Cube cake, I just use a little bit of water with a paintbrush. Just let me try one more time, okay? I'm gonna hit the bullseye. What? Is there wind in here? All I need to solve my Rubik's Cube is a knife. Remember how it was all yellow? All 9 cubes were yellow? Now you're getting it. You can only solve one side of the cube with a knife, but I'm ready to work with that. That's good enough for me. This has been another cube-tastic episode of How to Cube It. If you like this video, give me a cubes up. Leave a cubant below. Subscribe. I couldn't do that. Subscribe. But most importantly, come back next Cubes Day. Guys, I need your cube puns below. Yeah, I'm good with cake puns. Cube puns, not as good.